Well, hello everyone. Happy Wednesday. Um, Thank you for joining another episode of Sips and Trips. I'm just waiting for Miss Tania to join. We are having a little Galentine's Day special, which is why I'm giving you guys a little shoulder action today. We're going to be talking all about just our favorite girls' trips, vacations, etc. Tania's getting ready to join now. When it comes to me adding her into the live. So hopefully it won't take too long. There we go. Hey friend.
Hi. Oh
How are
my
you?
God. Pretty good. I almost put on my black dress too. And I said,
Oh
let
no,
me
this is
well,
just a bodysuit.
oh, okay. Oh, okay. I see you.
Yes, girl, I had to give you a little shoulder
Not I
action.
was gonna put on black too, but you look cute. I like
Thank
it.
you. So do you.
Thank you. Hi everyone. How are y'all?
So, oh look at you. You have the whole setup. I just brought one.
And we already busted into them.
You already know. But tonight's episode is sponsored by Toast Beverages. They are a non alcoholic sparkling tea brand. They have two different flavors. They have the sparkling white tea with cranberry ginger, and then they have a rose flavor as well. And both of them are very good. You can pair them with alcohol, or you could just drink them by yourself. By itself. For Christmas, I did edible. I added edible glitter and pomegranate seeds to it to give it like a
Oh, that
little bit of
sounds
a
good.
flair. And it was good. It was really good. Yep. So you can actually find Toast at your local grocery stores. I've seen it at Walmart. If you're in the DMV, I see it at Giant pretty often as well. Or you can order it online. And if they have the program, the rounds in your area, which is a grocery subscription, you can order toast through the rounds as well.
I love that. I actually did not have a chance to make it into our stores to see them, but I definitely know you can go directly to their website. We have tagged them below in our comments. So, like Jennifer said, tonight my goal was to add a little bit of Prosecco to mine, but I feel like I've been drinking too much. So, it's nice having that mocktail beverage when you feel like you kind of need to detox because it's been whew, some heavy drinking going on for 2024. It's been a little rough.
Oh my
But
good, listen, life be life, and sometimes you need a little drink to calm your nerves.
I'm just saying. Well, happy Galentine's, everyone, and thank you for joining us. If you have any friends that like to talk travel, like to sip their favorite beverages, definitely tell them to join us. And throughout the show, if you have any feedback or you want to hop on, always feel free to hit that live button to join us and share your feedback as well, because our goal is to have some fun tonight for one of my favorite unofficial holidays. Where this holiday come from? Because Galentine's hasn't always been around. It just like popped up a few years ago, and we just
And
been
we've been
rocking with it.
rocking with it. It's like National Lipstick Day. It just came up one day. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I don't remember. So first of all, I had started hearing people say Galentine's like a couple of years ago, but I didn't know that Galentine's Day was an actual day. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know February 13th was really
Mm-hmm.
Galentine's Day. So, but I'm here for it. I'm here for
I love
any holiday that celebrates
it.
girlfriends getting together.
I'm just saying, because when you think about it, the relationships that we have that are most consistent with people that we love to the moon and back, it's often our Galentines. And so my friends and I definitely, we've made this a whole thing. Of course, the goal is to be able to do it on the 13th, but as we know, life
Life
be life, and it
be
typically
life.
falls in the middle of a week. And so I was actually able to celebrate Galentine's with some friends on this past Saturday, and that's the reason why I'm drinking mocktails today.
Okay. Okay. So y'all had y'all a little
Let
time.
me tell you, carafe mimosas by myself just be alive.
Been there. So I'm celebrating actually on Friday with one of
Okay.
my girlfriends. But normally at this time of year, my cousin and I take a Galentine's trip.
Oh,
But
okay.
because life has been very interesting lately, I am not able to travel right now. So
Right.
there was no Galentine's trip. But I may treat myself to a little spa situation, to
I
still celebrate a
I
little bit.
mean, trips, spas, I think it's all about anything that as a woman makes you feel good. Celebrating each other, celebrating yourself. all the things. If for some reason you and your Galentines can't get together, you and your friends, do something nice for yourself. Mail them cards. Like, I think I have enjoyed more, well, Galentines more with my friends for the past few years, to be honest, than I have with these men.
Yeah. So I tell my girlfriends all the time. I remember an episode of Sex. You know, I'm anti-date. Like I'm done. I'm not dating
Hmm.
anymore. It's gonna be me and my dog, and that's it. We good over here because I don't have the mental capacity to protect my mental health. It's best that I no longer date.
I get it.
But there was an episode of Sex in the City when they said, "What if we are each other's soulmates and guys are just this extra cool thing to have?" Basically, I'm not saying it correctly, and I have often told my girlfriends, my closest girlfriends, is a handful of them. I always tell them, "Y'all are my wives, right? Like they really are my soulmates." They have treated me better than any man has. They have taken me on vacation. I ain't never been on no vacation before. And if you follow me on TikTok, then you have heard the story about the one time I thought I was this close to getting a vacation. And y'all
Hold
found
on,
out what happened.
because I'm currently not on social media for real, and I feel like I want to hear this story too. Let's introduce ourselves, and then I feel like you owe us that story. Since you hinted it, all of us are not on TikTok. I just
All
feel like we get to hear
right.
that story.
Well, I'm Jennifer of Red Lips and Passports. And this my girl Tania. What you got to say?
I'm Tania with Travels by Tania. Y'all know Jennifer's like my favorite storyteller. So grab your drinks. Welcome to Galentine's, the Simpson. Welcome to the Simpson Trips edition of Galentine's, or the other way around. I don't know how to say it. Tell us the story,
All
Jennifer.
right. So it was a dark and stormy night. And I had met this guy. And so I think this part must have been like part two of the dating horror story. But basically, long story short, I met this guy. I have told you about this guy plenty of times because it was how we first met. When we first met in person, I told you guys the story. And I think I broke the ice of the trip because of the story. But anyway, I met this guy and there were so many red flags from jump, right? But I chose to ignore. I didn't ignore them. My friends was like, "Oh no, that's not red flags." And I realize that what is a red flag to me may not be a red flag to others,
Right.
right? So now I know to trust my guts. So a couple months go by and we're dating, and there's still red flags. There are yellow flags, rainbow, iridescent glitter, neon, glow in the dark. Like it's a bunch of flags, okay? And he was going through a crisis. And my daddy might have been a piece of trash, but one thing he told me was that you want to make sure you date someone when they're going through a crisis because you want to see how they handle it, right?
Yep.
And so he handled it, pretty well. And I was a, supportive little, ride or die chick. And he said, "Babe, when all of this is over, I want to take you to Mexico," right? And I was so excited because no man has ever told me he wanted to take me to Mexico. No man has ever offered a vacation, right?
Mhm.
So I'm buying all the things. I'm getting my bathing suit together, buying sandals, this and that. I mean, I'm ready. I'm getting ready for the trip. But then it dawns on me, Jennifer, you don't know if this man has a passport. So I was asking him, I said, "Hey, everything is coming to a close. Like it's time to start planning the trip. Do you have your passport together?" And he was like, "My passport?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "Why are you asking about my passport?" And I was like, "Well, you said like once everything was over that you wanted to go to Mexico." And he was like, "You don't need a passport to go to Mexico." And so I was like, "Well, what Mexico are you talking about?" And it was like in that moment, I was like, "Dog, you should have asked more questions, right?" So I was like, "Where are you talking about taking me?" And he said, "To Mexico restaurant." Mexico restaurant is the name of a restaurant in the town that I grew up in. I do not want to go there.
Oh,
I
I
want
would.
to go to real Mexico on a plane with a passport stamp. That's what I want. I
Did you
don't want
break
to
up
go
with him right
to
then and
no
there?
daggone restaurant in Waldorf. If you're from the DMV, then you know, and you've been to Waldorf, then you know about Mexico restaurant. The food is good, but I don't want to go there. I want real Mexico. I'm
I
still
get it.
upset.
So what ended up happening with you and him?
Don't play with me. You know what happened. You
Okay, we're gonna say that story for unless you want to share. I'm not saying you have to, but I mean,
all
all
right.
right.
So this is what happened to him. In the height of the pandemic, we are in my apartment watching a movie. And at the end of the movie, he says, "What did you think of the movie?" And I said, "Yeah, he to the left. What? Please. I just said I don't want to date no more. He the reason why I'm wounded like this. I done have been in therapy for years for this." So anyway, he says, um, "What you think about the movie?" And I said, "Well, I think everybody wanted us to think the lady was crazy, but I don't think she was crazy. I think she was just misunderstood." And he was like, "Yeah, you know who else is misunderstood? It's clowns." So I was like, "Okay. So what you mean by clowns? Do you mean like Pennywise? Because he was not misunderstood. He was evil." And he said, and I said, "Oh, do you mean like the Joker? Because the Joker was misunderstood because he was bullied, and then that's why he became who he was, right? Because they picked on him." He said, "I have an obsession with clowns." So I said, "Okay, well, we all got something we obsessed with, right?" I'm like, "I'm obsessed with
You're
red
so
lipstick, whatever."
supportive. You're so
I'm
damn supportive.
trying to give this man the benefit of the doubt, but I don't know what's about to happen. Okay. So then he said, "And sometimes I like to dress like one." So I paused and I said, "Like to make extra money on the side?" Because I'm trying to be understanding, like for birthday parties. And he was like, "No. Like I want to walk I like to walk down the street wearing my clown outfit." And at that moment, I was like, I have heard enough. So he talking about the insane clown posse and all that, and I'm like, I have heard enough because I remember I watched this crime series on Oxygen, and the people like the insane clown posse, and they went and killed the girl's husband because they was following the lyrics of the insane clown posse. So I absolutely not. We had shut it down right now. Get out my house, and that was it. Right. So a couple days later, I'm telling my girlfriend, like, "Girl, you ain't gonna believe this. You ain't gonna believe what happened." And she's like, "Let me see a picture of him." And I show her the picture of us on our very first date, right? And she was like, "You mean to tell me that you never knew that this man liked to dress like a clown?" I said, "No, how would I have known that?" She said, "Go back and look at the picture and look at that man's shirt. He had on a Pennywise shirt. I cannot make this up. I wish I could share my screen with y'all right now so y'all can see the photo. Um, if I will put it in my stories. I'll put it in my stories so that you guys can see. But he had on a Pennywise the Clown shirt. But let me tell you, one of the red flags was he had shown me one of his ex-girlfriends. And the ex-girlfriend likes to dress like a mermaid. She's a very, very popular figure on social media. And she likes to dress like a mermaid. I should have known then that he liked to
Mm-hmm.
dress like something too. But I forgot to tell y'all, he showed me the pictures. He showed me the
Of
pictures
him dressed up
of
like a
him
clown.
dressed up like a clown,
Oh,
dressed up
child.
just like the insane clown posse. I cannot make this up. And what's funnier now is that he is now dating another travel content creator. And I want to scream and yell and save her so bad, but I'm gonna mind my business because maybe she like to dress like a
Hey,
clown too
I'm just
behind closed
saying.
doors.
You talking about save her, baby? They might be dressing up together.
Together. That's why I said let me mind my business because they
Mm-hmm.
both might be into that. But yeah, that's what happened. That was the one time somebody tried to give me a vacation.
Let me say, I'm trying to think. Baker.
No, he was not a white man. Okay. He was like 2 shades lighter than me, but he was not white.
um, I have been on a few vacations. Um, my ex-boyfriend and I used to travel a lot, but since we're talking about bad vacations before we kind of get into the good stuff, um, our last vacation we went to Tulum. Matter of fact, that might be the last time a guy took me out of town. We went to Tulum. I used to always say we fight, but we don't fight because we don't never fight on vacation. Like, it's cool if we just go out of town, things are gonna be good, all this kind of stuff. I probably should have never said that because the way that we fought in them people transfers getting back to the airport, I have never had a driver more sick of us. When we got back to the airport, it was like that man threw us out the car. Like, he almost pulled off with our bags. I know he was like, "Get y'all out." It was, and that was my last vacation. But to be honest, typically vacations are where I'm the happiest. If I start arguing with my man on vacation, this about we about to be getting our belongings and wrapping this up real soon. Real soon. Um, but speaking of vacations, since you say you've never been on a vacation, if you were to go on one, what do you think would be your ideal vacation? Like, where would you want to
My
go?
ideal vacation would be by myself.
Okay, well,
No, I'm joking.
but
No,
like,
I'm joking. I don't know. It would depend on what our vibe is as a couple, right? Because sometimes people like to have like those romantic trips. But if we're like an adventurous couple, it would be something like, let's go hiking, let's go on a hot air balloon ride, Um, maybe something like Morocco where we could do hiking, we could do shopping. There's a romantic side of it. We
that's
could do a
cute.
hot air balloon. Um, maybe something like that. I'm not really sure. I never thought about
Really?
it. Mm-hmm.
Um, I know what's mine, and it's crazy. I will travel just about anywhere in the world, but there are two places I refuse to go until either I turn 40 or it's my honeymoon. I really want to go to Bora Bora or to the Maldives with a man. I've heard it's boring anyway. It's expensive, but it's beautiful, but it's boring. Those
Mm-hmm.
are the two big ones for me that, like, I'm saving. I said honeymoon, but it's looking like 40 about to come before honeymoon because I'm not rushing it, forcing it, any of those things. And so, you want to go to Bora Bora with me when I turn 40?
When you turn 40.
2025. 2025.
So, I would. However, I turned 40 in 2025, and my best friend and
Oh,
I are actually doing like a multi-city kind of situation. So I have to see if my points can make it work.
I already see what God doing. Don't worry. If I bring my girls on the trip, I'm paying. Don't trip. Just
Well, child,
bring your belongings.
sign me up.
Bring your belongings, baby. Bring your belongings.
Yes, honey.
So
I ain't bringing my belongings. I'm gonna buy it when I get there.
Oh, okay. Well, I heard in the Maldives that means you're gonna be wrapped in grass or some sand and stuff because I don't know where you're gonna go
You're
buy it.
absolutely correct. But it's so funny how people hype up the Maldives, and everybody who I hear talk about it, they always say, "Look, it's so beautiful, it's
But it's
gorgeous."
boring.
But oh, my best friend's actually on.
Hi.
Um, but they say it's boring. But honestly, I heard the same thing about Dubai.
Um, did you enjoy
I haven't
Dubai?
been.
And no, I haven't been to Turks. I haven't been to Turks yet. It's on my list, but I've heard that Turks is boring too. But now they have the little cute little kayak picture you could take with the clear bottom and all that. That'll be all I care about.
For real,
So
for
Dubai.
real. But honestly, I'm the type of person I can have fun anywhere, right? Like, I'm going to have a great time on vacation no matter where we go. It could be the most boring destination in the world, but I'm
Same,
still gonna have a good time.
same. I think that's one of the things that with me being a travel writer, like, and having to just do all these different things, it's like I have to learn how to make a blade of grass sound like a blade of grass that you can't wait to see, to hold in your hands, to smell, all those different things. I can find something fun or entertaining in everything too.
Hmm.
Um, I think about one of the most interesting trips I went on. I actually took Lottie from Green Rebel Photos with me. We went to Minneapolis. Was that last year? Last year, at the end of January, beginning of February, for the Great Northern Festival. I was felt like, before going on that trip, first off, we're like, okay, we're not used to temperatures that cold and all those different things. That ended up being one of the funnest, most spontaneous, just random trips. Like, one of the best things that we got to experience there, and I would have never thought about this. I had a swimsuit. We were told to pack swimsuits or whatever because we knew that we were going to some type of sauna experience. Um, it was snowy outside. It had to be. The degrees were maybe in the teens. We were outside with flip flops on in full swimsuits, walking through the snow, going into saunas. You're going in and out of different saunas. They had like 17 of them. spread around, like you're walking out. So you are, I was thinking, I'm like, I'm going to freeze. They were like, no, here's a rope. Just tough it out until you get in the first one. And I wanted to say, no, I'm black. I can't. This ain't my type of whatever. But we ended up, and I'm like, so the first time that we walk out, I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. My mama gonna be like, you ain't have no business with your little stupid self out there, whatever. So we get it in the first sauna, whatever. We come out. There's like mist coming off your skin. There's like the mist, and you really are outside, and your body is getting that cold plunge that it gets. Like if you were to do it at like a luxury gym or something, where you go into, of course, the hot part, then you do a cold plunge, but it was natural. I want that was one of the most exhilarating experiences of my life. It makes me want a sauna like to put in my backyard because now you can have them during COVID. One of the guys that founded that experience, he made one and basically was just using it during COVID. And now in Minneapolis, they're all over. Like it's some of them look like tiny homes, some look like barrels, but you can buy your own personal sauna. But that cold plunge experience afterwards, it's yeah, that was a pretty good experience. And I thought I was gonna hate everything about being up there in that cold weather.
I child, I there's a spa that I go to pretty often. It's not pretty often, but I do an annual spa trip up there. It's in New Jersey. And they have a cold plunge, and I see the people, but none of the people look like me, and they be
Mm-hmm.
jumping in that cold plunge, and I just be like, I'm a pass.
So I did try to do the cold plunge like at a hotel pool that they sent me to get like the luxury part of the experience before we did the outside portables. I couldn't handle it. It's one thing to like have to force yourself to get in a cold plunge. It's something else to have to walk outside because you hot. So and then like when your body would start cooling down, you would just go hop in another sauna and your body constantly had that. But I couldn't do the cold plunge pool. I couldn't handle it. Oh, that was it's
Yeah,
terrible.
my girlfriend does the polar plunge.
I can't.
Yes, I'm cool. I don't even like, I contemplate getting rid of my dogs every day because I don't like the way the cold weather feels on my face in the morning. So I definitely am not trying to, definitely not trying to jump in no cold water on purpose. Like I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, I definitely get that. So I know that we both traveled to a lot of different destinations. What are some of your favorite destinations that, if you could name three destinations that you wanted to take your Galentines or your girls, where would you go with them and what would you do?
Oh, that's a bit, I don't know. Oh gosh. So definitely probably like I had the most amazing experience in Phoenix and Scottsdale last summer
Mm-hmm.
that I definitely would love to do like a girls trip there. I also would love for my friends. Most of my friends have not been to Africa, so I would absolutely love to do a girls trip to Africa. And one more place. My best friend has been dying to get to Dubai, and I would love to take her to Dubai.
Yeah, I will help you guys create a bomb itinerary. I have great connections in Dubai, but Dubai is not one of my favorite places. It's just,
I already know that I am not going to like Dubai, but that is her bucket list thing, and I know that she would definitely plan a trip for me to my bucket list place. I would
yeah,
absolutely love to take her so that she can knock it off.
I kind of, but you say you've never been. I feel about it like Paris. I still think people need to go. It's just somewhere I don't have to go back to. But those are not the only two places I experienced like that. Because Paris, I don't have to go back ever, actually.
So I am so turned off by France because I went to Guadeloupe, and while Guadeloupe is not France, the people there speak French, and they were so rude. Like I thought I was not gonna make it back to America because I was gonna have to bust the little TSA lady in her head. How do you say bust you in your head in French? Because that's what I wanted. And before I could even say, the man behind me spoke fluent French, and he was like, "Je and thank you, sir. Merci beaucoup." He got her together, and then she politely handed my passport back. But it made me feel like if y'all act like this here, how do they act in France? I don't know if I'm built for it.
Like that. They are, so somebody asked, what are my issues with Paris? First off, Paris is dirty. Um, It's dirty, and there's definitely some hygiene issues going on around the land. And then, to be honest, I feel like they were rude to me, not because I was black, but because I was American. And I say that because there was another, we went on like an excursion or something. One of the things let me see, where did we go? We went on an excursion. I can't even remember what excursion it was. But anyways, there was another American couple that was with us, and the husband actually spoke French, and they were treating him the same way, and he wasn't black, you know. And so it's one of those things to where it just, yes, a lot of cats.
Baby, if you scared of cats, don't you ever go to Morocco.
Well, yeah. And I didn't enjoy the food. The food was not it. The food was terrible. But I did like going to Cognac, France, and I want to go to Champagne, France. The next time I go, but like I would just be going through Paris. One of the things I've realized I'd like to do on trips, I like train rides. I
Mm,
really like train rides. So we actually rode the train into France, like the country lands. They were so nice there.
mm,
But the only difference was in Paris, people could speak English, and that's not a requirement. People were rude just because they could be.
yes.
And then when I went to the countryside, they couldn't speak English at all, which was fine. But everybody was so nice and so cordial and like so giving. And if you go to Paris, everything is in French, so it's not like you can really This was 2015 when I first went, and so it's not like, we had all the kind of tech devices and things like we have now. Back then, if you were going to turn your phone on, you were going to have to pay. Like, that's when roaming was super expensive.
Hmm.
But so you really had to figure it out. And in the countryside, they were nice about it. Like, it was a really good experience. I think Remy Martin is still the only house that the original family still, they own it and run it. And you can go and have like a dining experience at the Remy Martin house. And any woman that like has a man that likes to travel, that is a great vacation trip, especially if your man drinks cognac and dark liquor. You can go to like Hennessy while you're there. You can do those things, but that Remy Martin experience is special.
Oh, that's really cool. I just want to clarify one thing. So just remember that we are telling you guys our opinions. Do not change your travel plans based on what
Please
we're
don't.
saying. We are
Please
only
don't.
talking about our own personal experiences. It is like perfume. If you spray it on me, it may not smell the same way it smells
Mm-hmm.
on you. You have to make your own, make your own decisions and form your own opinions about destinations. We're just sharing what our experiences have been like.
For sure. And let me say this, even to the places I have not enjoyed, which are very few, far and in between, I still don't regret going. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and would probably go back if there was some type of thing. I've been to Paris since then. It doesn't bother me. I've been to Dubai 3 or 4 times. The reason why, even with places like Dubai, my preference is this: if I want to go to Vegas, I'll just go to Vegas. However, there are people that are like, no, Vegas could never compare with Dubai. Dubai is now, I will say this, Dubai is one of the most technological advanced places you'll ever go. They put so much money into being the first. They will truly have flying cars within the next few years. Just going and seeing the way that they put money into making this city like one of the most, I don't even know what to say, places in the world. Or you know what I'm trying to say? Like, they want the tallest building. They want the most islands. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. From what I've seen with Dubai, they seem like they're extremely technology advance, and that, as a person in tech, I am very interested in that aspect. And of course, like the shopping, because they have some amazing
Yep.
fragrances in Dubai, and I am absolutely obsessed with perfume, and I wear a lot of Middle Eastern
Mhm.
perfumes. But um it's just not some place that I would be. It's like Paris. If the opportunity arose and someone said we're going to Paris, I would absolutely go. But it's not a place that's like on my list that I'm
Mhm.
dying to get to. You know what
Yep.
I mean? So,
But I do have some places that are my absolute favorite.
yeah, share those.
Especially when I think about the question I asked you, like 3 places that I would like to go, like with my girlfriends, Galentines, all that. One is Cape Town. I
Mm-hmm.
love going to Africa, traveling to different places in Africa, but Cape Town is by far my favorite. I'm going to Cape Town in March, and I'll be there for 2 or 3 weeks. And just being able to spend that kind of time like with your girls. You guys being in Camp Bay, being on the waterfront, because it's like you get the beaches, you get beautiful scenery, you get nice dinners for a really low price. Then spending time together on Robin's Island before going to the wineries.
The wineries, baby,
The
the
wineries,
wineries.
yes.
They are just oh, the wine. The
One
wine.
of the best experiences ever. Like, in this time, I want to do the wine tram. Did you get a chance to do the wine tram when you went through the wineries?
No, I didn't. We actually only went to one winery
Okay.
in the Stellenbosch region. We had a private driver. We didn't get to do the tram.
So I wanted to do the tram, but we ended up having a driver as well, just simply based on timing and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we went to 3 or 4 different wineries, but you could find a winery with pizza, a winery with cupcakes,
Oh
any kind
yeah.
of winery you can think of in that area. There are hundreds of them. And so just knowing like we'll never get tired of tasting wine. Nobody will have been to the wineries that we've been through, even if a few of us have been to like Cape Town. So Cape Town would definitely be one. Um, I would love to go back to Brazil with my girls.
Oh, how
Rio
could I
de
forget
Janeiro.
Brazil?
Yeah, it was really, really good time. Rio was pretty good. Eating the food, experiencing the culture, going dancing. Like, I don't even know when I started saying I went dancing. We went dancing. That's not like our parents. We went dancing.
We went dancing. Can I ask you a question about your trip to Brazil? What was
Uh-huh.
the name of the drink that you and your friends was drinking?
You get on my nerves. Okay,
Hey,
y'all. Thanks for I'm kidding. um,
you could do it. I know you can do it.
a Caipirinha.
You did good. Close enough.
Caipirinha.
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 Yeah.
Cap. Yes.
Capri
The
Suns.
Yeah, we had so many of those. Like, if you missed our episode, our Brazil episode, which was the last one, um, what's
Yes.
that?
The last
Brazil.
one was our Brazil
Yes,
episode. Yep.
definitely tune into that one. We had so much fun. There's so much Black culture in Brazil, which was nice, and we only got to see like Rio. I know I want to see places outside of Rio. There were so many people that looked like us. You couldn't tell who was who. It was just an amazing time, and our money went far.
Get the money went very, very far. I actually did not research like what the exchange rate was. Um but the money went super, super far. And I mean, like we were eating really, really good
Yeah.
meals while on that trip. I mean, we drank caipirinhas on the street, and I think they were the equivalent of like $3. And they were
Yeah.
heavy poured. Um, yeah, they were heavy poured. So it was amazing. But one thing that I've been seeing a lot on the internet is people saying to stop saying destinations are cheap because the destinations are not cheap for the people who live there.
That's fair.
Um, and I had never thought about that before, but it makes sense. So now I like to say like our dollar goes
Uh-huh.
far, or or like the exchange rate or anything. Like,
That's
what's your thoughts
fair.
on that?
I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think though that also I could see two sides to it, because the other side of it is that if we know to go and put our dollar there, that puts more money into the economy because we like touristy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so there are two sides to it. It's good that we're traveling to these places, especially those that are sustained by tourism. We don't really want to go places to where we can't do much.
Right, because there are some places that like Iceland was extremely expensive.
Yeah, they say Switzerland is crazy
Really?
expensive. Like $6 bottle of water is very expensive. Yeah,
Yeah, I
but
think a carton of eggs in Iceland was like $12. And
yeah,
I remember my mom and I got a very, very simple meal, and it was like $100. Okay, so what travel advisory are you referring to? Because there are several.
several. There are always several.
Okay, so while we're waiting for them to explain, you said Brazil, you said Cape Town, and what else?
Um. Oh. Okay. So this is a trip I'm gonna take with my girls one day. Girls, pray I get rich, because this is another one I'm gonna bring y'all on. I want to go back to the Serengeti
Mm.
and stay at the Four Seasons out there for like a bunch of days and do the safaris. That was another one of my favorite experiences, and I'm so glad I got to experience that with another one of my really close girlfriends. Um, and just do the hot air balloon ride over the Serengeti. I've actually done the one in Turkey, but I haven't done the one. That's the only one I've ever done. But get up early. That's one that I would love to just take my friends on. The Jamaica Travel Advisory. Okay. You want
Go ahead.
to start or?
No,
Okay.
so um, she said the Serengeti. So the travel advisories. The thing about it is that there are travel advisories everywhere. I say that this is where it's important for you to have a travel agent because with your travel agent will let you know because they're going to get information on whether or not a destination is safe, right? So I think that you should definitely abide by that. You should take a look at the State Department warnings as well. However, a lot of times the news will not give you the details on the travel advisory, and you really need to do your own research because they will have you scared to go places. I wouldn't go to Mexico for years because of the TV. But if I just looked at the State Department website, the places where I wanted to go, it was like just exercise caution. And to me, exercise caution means exercise the same caution I do when I'm at home, right? So
Exactly.
I'm not going outside at 3 o'clock in the morning just tiptoeing through the tulips. And I'm, not go, what I'm saying, I'm not going to go down a dark alley and things like that. So you really have to I just say like really really do your own research. Now if there are places where it's like the political climate is pretty, like I would not suggest anyone go to Israel right now. I don't believe that
Agreed.
that's safe. um if it's something, a place like that, then yeah, you should definitely be worried. But I feel like places like Jamaica and Mexico, they always have some kind of a travel warning.
Always. Jamaica was a level 4 recently. And so the thing is to, like Jennifer said, read the travel advisory. You'll be going to Mexico thinking that it's a travel advisory for the whole Mexico. Maybe going to Cabo, there's no travel advisory. Going to certain places in Cancun, also look at what it says. For the travel warning for Jamaica, it does not say all of Montego Bay. It gives you a very specific strip of Montego Bay to stay off of, which is basically not where the resorts are. You have to remember, these destinations are sustained by tourism. Something could be going on to the left side of the island. That's the same thing as being in big cities and something going on in the hood. And so I say that to say, like, exercise the same kind of caution and be specific in what you are reading. Um, and we've talked about these travel warnings before. Just read them in their entirety. Make sure you have travel insurance and always do whatever is based on your level of comfort. But if there are travel warnings, stay at hotels and resorts versus staying at B&Bs or in the city. Go on group trips and tours that you book off something like Viator and get your guide instead of finding a random tour
Random
guide.
person.
Just be safe. And that's
Absolutely.
wherever you go.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that I say this all the time is to, when you have booked your trip, register your trip with the State Department,
Mm-hmm.
um, step.travel.state.gov. And it is a great resource. And I've always done it, but it wasn't until we went on that trip to DR, and that was the first time I actually needed it. Like
Right.
it was beneficial because before I ever knew that something was happening, my mother already had told me like, hey, they're
Mm-hmm.
tracking a hurricane where you are. And I was like, oh really? I had no idea.
Yeah.
And sure enough, like the State Department was texting me like, hey, the embassy is getting ready to close. If you need help, here is the number for you to call, or whatever. But it was keeping my family up to speed on what was happening,
Right.
and it was keeping me up to speed as well with what was happening, because we actually ended up getting stuck there. If you guys are
Right.
new here, that's actually what happened the first time we actually met in person.
Right.
We actually got stuck in DR for a couple days because of a
A
hurricane.
hurricane.
And
Mm-hmm.
the point of that, the STEP program is the Safe Traveler Enrollment Program. The point of that is to let your emergency point of contact, as well as you, know of anything that's happening, whether it's bad weather, political, civil unrest here,
Right.
or civil unrest in America. it lets you know. It's going to tell you where the closest embassy is. If you are in trouble, if you get lost, your family knows exactly where you were, so the State Department can say, okay, we need to contact X, Y, and Z embassy for you. Um, they'll tell you what embassy you need to go to if you lose your passport, because that has happened to people. And somebody said, do I recommend you travel with your passport while, like walking around?
No,
I don't.
a
I
copy
recommend that you have a digital copy of your passport on your phone, as
as a
well as
paper copy.
a paper copy.
Hmm.
But you keep that passport in a safe. You can actually buy your own portable safe, really small, that smashes down. You can buy it on Amazon and just slide your passport right in there. I don't particularly trust hotel safes, so I travel with my own personal safe that I got on Amazon.
Will you drop that link in your bio for the people that need it in your story?
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
Perfect. Okay. And what's there? Did we get the other question? I think it was about going to places in Canada. Have you been to Canada?
I've been to Toronto and Montreal.
I've been to Vancouver and Niagara Falls.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
And
um,
Canada is really nice. The crime rate is like super, super low, and people are very, very friendly.
and it's so clean.
So
Like,
clean.
I never knew what it meant by like walking through air and you know that it's clean. It doesn't smell like anything. It's like you can breathe and you don't even realize you're missing that in the US. It's yeah. And if you go to places, I know I went to Vancouver from Seattle and I ended up going to Niagara Falls from Rochester. So if you're in any of those cities, you can always take day trips into Canada as well.
Yeah, like Detroit as well. Oh, okay. I didn't know Usher had Canada on his tour. So let's go back. Toronto is amazing. The people are friendly. The food scene is phenomenal. Um, but you mentioned how to register for STEP. STEP is through the State Department, so you can go to travel.state.gov and you can find this enroll to the STEP program there. Just look up Safe Traveler Enrollment Program, or just look up STEP and you'll find it. Hmm. So, what have been your best girls trips?
Mm, okay. Let me think. I've had so many. I'm trying to highlight the top three. Mm, a trip to Cabo with my spring break group. We used to so when I was a school counselor, my teacher friends and I, every spring break we take a trip together. So we've been to Cancun, to Cabo, and to Jamaica. That Cabo trip was so fun. Like we stayed at Grand Fiesta Americana. It's a family resort, but they have an adult side. The food was really good. It was just a great trip. We enjoyed each other's company. If you've never been to Cabo, Cabo is one of the places where you can rent a yacht and it's not super expensive. Like we got a yacht between the four of us, and it may have been like $150 each, and that's food, that's drinks, that's all those things. But my favorite resorts in Cabo, are really so vibes and views wise, I'm going to say Breathless. Breathless resorts are just fun. If you like to party, if you like luxury vibes, partying, Breathless are your resorts. They're in Cancun, they're in Montego Bay, Cabo, and there's one in Punta Cana. But I would say Breathless, Grand Fiesta, Americana, and there's one more resort there that I love. I'm trying to think of the name of it, and I'm drawing a blank. It's a real trendy resort. I'm gonna think of a name of it and drop it in our story. But that was a good question. Um, how about how many? When you say girls trip, how many girls classifies a
Well,
girls
if it's
trip?
you and another girl, that's a girls trip. So it don't
Okay.
matter.
The trip that I took to South Africa with my sisters, and then the trip that Angie, one of my high school best friends, and I, that's when I went to the Serengeti, to Arusha, and the Zanzibar. Those were some amazing trips. Like Africa trips to me are top notch. Like they're everything.
Yeah, Africa is amazing. I think everyone needs to get to Africa at least once,
Hmm.
because the way that we are told about what we have been told about Africa, like in school, is not the Africa that you are going to experience when you get there. Like there are some places that are like what we were taught in school. But I remember when I came back from South Africa, and my family was like, how was it? How was it? Did you see zebras walking down the street? And I was like, no. It was, and I remember this movie when as a kid. I don't know if you remember this movie. It was called The Color of Friendship, and it was about a
Mm-mm.
black family that lived in DC, and had a foreign exchange student, and she was from South Africa. And so it's a true story. It's about a black family who the father was a congressman in DC, and so the girl came to stay here, and the daughter was like, so how many elephants have you seen? And she was like, I've seen about as many elephants as you have, because elephants are in the zoo. And that was like my first hint that, oh, like not everywhere in Africa has elephants. But that movie changed my mind. But then when I got there, I was like, oh yeah, this ain't nothing
Hmm.
like what we were taught in school, or what TV has showed us.
And I'm gonna say, like, we party in Africa, like we dance and we party, like, and it's. I've been to a lot of clubs in a lot of different places for whatever reason. Not whatever reason. Like I don't really club in the States anymore, but if you get me out the country, we can go to the club every time I'm gonna go. So I've partied in like some pretty fun places, but being in South Africa, being in Cape Town, like and the music sounds like we're here, and it's just good times. Everybody laughing, everybody in the room looks like you. Like it's a totally different
Kind
experience.
of like when we went to Brazil, and it was like that club that was like under the
Oh
bridge,
yeah, when they were just
and
dancing like it was
they was just
called
doing their
freaking
line
out
dances.
line dancing. Yeah,
Yeah,
like amazing and authentic. I'm trying to think. Tanzania. So I enjoyed Tanzania. I really enjoyed it, but I don't think I would stay long.
mm.
Yeah, that's go ahead.
Now I was getting ready to say, have you done Mauritius? Because I really want to go to Mauritius.
No, I have not. It's on my list. Where I really want, I don't. So I'm starting to run out of like places I have to go, but there are still some experiences I want to do. I want to do Yacht Week. I want to do Yacht Week, the original route in Croatia. That is one of my dream trips. And I'm like, the older I get, I know, I don't want to outage it, because that's only the kind of partying you're going to do for Yacht Week is a party. There's a time limit on that. And it's like, I used to say I want to go here, I want to go there. I've kind of knocked those places off. Now it's just wherever I land. Hey, girl, you want to go here for my birthday? There's this conference here. It's just there's some experiences.
Yeah, I agree with you, because I was like literally thinking while we were on here, like, what places am I dying to get to? And I'm not really dying to get anywhere. Like when the opportunity to go to Brazil last year came up, I was like, oh yeah, Brazil could be cool.
Hmm.
I never thought about it. Well, okay, the opportunity is here. I'm going to go. So I think that it's any place where the opportunity presents itself, especially if I've never been there before.
Yeah, for sure. And I even think about Brazil. Brazil wasn't really on my radar. Traveler Explorer came to me and we talked about it, and then it was something I wanted to do in 2021. COVID happened. I decided to do an easier destination for my first Caribbean Classic back after COVID. Um, I was not expecting that flight to be so long. Like, I don't think I did a good job. Like, I don't know. We
I
just
don't
went to
know why I
Brazil.
thought Brazil was next door. Like I did
I
not.
was thinking three
It
flights.
wasn't. It wasn't until I had sent my flight itinerary to my parents, and I was like, oh, huh,
Oh my
this will
God.
be a long day.
I, I was not prepared. Like, and then it's 10 hours nonstop from Houston. How long was your flight day?
I think it was about 12 hours nonstop, maybe. I can't
Oh,
remember, but it was long. I was so thankful to have been up my seat to be upgraded, because it was needed.
yeah.
Because
It
it
was
was a very, very long flight. It was comfortable. I had a good time. I watched movies, slept, colored on my phone, but I hadn't been on a long
not,
haul flight since I went to
right.
South Africa.
We really took a long haul flight thinking we were going to Mexico.
girl.
We were
And
confused.
but I'm like, I did not realize. Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna be in the air for 12 hours straight, and
Yeah. And then you
a
go ahead.
it was a super long flight because it was a super long trip because I booked my flight because getting a flight out of DC was like I was going to have to go outside and shake my tail to afford that flight because the prices were so stupid expensive, right? But if I booked directly from Atlanta to Sao Paulo, I mean, yeah, well, my first leg was Sao Paulo, but if I booked to Rio, it was like I think my flight was like $700, right? And so, but leaving from DC, it was gonna be like $1,600, $1,700. I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna work. So I had to drive to Baltimore to catch a flight from Baltimore to Atlanta, which cost me I think like $115. And then there was like a 6 hour layover. So I was in the airport lounge for 6 hours waiting to board my flight to go to Sao Paulo. And then I had to go from Sao Paulo to Rio. So it was like I was in the airport. Remember on Titanic? When they told her to tell the story, and she was like, "It's been 84 years." Like That's how long I was traveling. When I finally got to Brazil, I was like, "It's been 84
Yeah.
years."
I'm really glad that because when I'm on those again, that I was not prepared for a long haul flight. I don't know what I had going on. So to get on a long haul flight you're not prepared for, you have to mentally prepare for long haul flights. Like you have to think about, okay, this is what I'm getting ready to get into. This little food gonna be very mediocre. I'm about to drink all these people box wine. So let me find one movie I'm gonna watch in pieces the whole long haul flight. But
Child, you talking about prepare yourself. How about my first flight ever internationally? My total travel time was 28 hours. I went to Australia, my first trip, 17 hours one way. That was and
that
that
Bali,
was yeah.
that's that
But I
Bali.
had no idea what to expect, girl. And because I had never been nowhere before, I didn't know they be giving you meals on the plane. So I had packed me a salad. I had me a sandwich. I had a sandwich. I was like, I didn't know. So then they came around. They was like, "You want some ice cream?" Ice cream? Yes. Yes, I want waffles for breakfast. Yes, I want waffles because I had packed me a little breakfast burrito. It was gonna be cold, but I was gonna eat it. I didn't know.
Let me tell you what I didn't find out until later. That even if they not bringing the wine around, you can ring the little bell and ask them for a glass of wine. You don't have to
Oh,
wait
baby,
till they come back around. It
on
took me a
Delta,
long time to
on
learn that.
Delta, you can go straight to the back and get your little Tito's yourself. Can you? All you gotta ask them for is if you need some chaser, you can say, can I have some chaser? Right? You know what I'm saying? You can say, can you pour me some chaser? Because you can't pour it yourself. But you can go back there, shots for everybody, and just get enough shots for everybody and pass them out at the thing. At least that's what happened on my flight to coming home from Brazil.
Not everybody get fired because of you.
They probably was gonna put me on a do not fly list. But I definitely had like 5 Tito's. I grabbed like 5 Tito's and I was like, can I just get some
No,
cranberry juice? Thank you.
I'm telling you, I really have to sometimes like make sure I have some time when I land because I be there drunk so much of that box wine. You would
Baby,
think,
listen.
girl,
Because you can't tell me something is free, okay? Don't tell me I ain't got to pay
I
for
don't know
something
how to handle that.
because
I don't do well
when
with
we
that.
went to South Africa, I ain't drink no water on that flight. Every time she came around, white this time, red this
I'm
time, two more whites this
telling you,
time.
y'all gonna have to pack me out this plane.
That's the part right there. Don't let it be free, nothing, because I'm definitely going to take advantage. And that's how I am in the airport lounge too. I ain't gonna hold y'all because I pay my little annual membership to be in that airport lounge. Trust and believe.
Hmm.
Now I'm not gonna like go up there and like put all the filet mignon on my plate. I'm not gonna do that. But I am going to get my drinks worth because I paid $695. For airport lounge
Hmm.
access. I pay almost $1,400 a year between Capital One and Delta. Right? I'm getting my money's
Yep,
worth. Okay.
you better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that United is like $600. I think.
Mm-hmm.
or and if you know that you travel a lot, especially if you're a responsible human that gets to the airport on time, airport lounges may be worth the investment because when you think about the money you're probably paying sitting at the bar, just kind of piddle paddling around and doing that kind of stuff, you can be in the lounge enjoying the amenities.
Yeah, and then the other part about it is that you automatically get that access with certain credit cards anyway, and you just have to
Hmm.
pay it. You have to pay your annual fee. But like I know for with the card that I have, I get access to over 400 lounges internationally um in addition to the two Capital One lounges that are in America. I would hope that they would have more,
Yeah.
but eventually, but yeah, so it's definitely worth it, especially if you have a family and especially if you have a long layover because they
Hmm.
have rooms for you to rest in, they have meeting rooms, you can take a shower, and the customer service is very, very good because it's a privilege to be in there, right? And not everybody has that privilege and they do treat you they treat you quite well. They're going to wait on you hand and foot, one because they know you're going to tip them well, and then also just because they want you to have a good experience as a
For
traveler.
sure. And if you don't want to purchase a lounge membership because maybe you only take one or two flights a year, you can still purchase. They have apps and packages where you can purchase just like a one-time lounge access as well. That's sometimes worth the investment depending on what kind of traveling that you're doing. Right now, the chance of a flight delay or cancellation is very high, and so just know what your options are if you get stuck in the airport and have to deal with something like that.
Absolutely, but here's just a little bit of fine print for day passes with the airlines. I actually ran into this with American. I purchased a day pass for the Admiral Pass, and it was and when I got there, they were no longer accepting day passes.
Oh
Like they were done taking day
no.
passes for the day. So just be mindful that sometimes they may reach their capacity for accepting day passes.
So you know what? Speaking of like airports and things that they have, and one of the things that I want to do in the airport, some of the airports have like napping pods. I think
Mm-hmm.
that the one I saw last was maybe in Japan or something like that. I think it's like in Japan or China. That's one of the things I want to do. Like sometimes when you're in, like when you're traveling, like for instance, if you go to Singapore, they have free tours from the airport in Singapore. You just sign up for them free city tours if you have a layover 3 hours or more because they want you to enjoy the city. One of the airports, I think it's in Japan, they have the napping pods. Like just kind of knowing what amenities they may have that may be cool for you to be to look at if you're stuck in the airport for a long time.
Just did a post yesterday on navigating through Atlanta's airport, and I talked about like if this is your first time going, like make sure that you enjoy the amenities. A lot of these airports have apps, and the apps will tell you like
Mm-hmm.
the things that you can enjoy from napping pods to spas to showers to rentable suites to
Shopping.
shopping, and then also other activities that you can do while you're there. There are interfaith chapels, there are yoga rooms,
Mm-hmm.
lounges. A lot of these restaurants, I mean, a lot of these airports have like top tier food. Montreal, hands down, had some of the best food I have ever had in an airport. So if you download the apps to these airports, you actually can find out a lot of things that you
Mm-hmm.
may not have known. I remember one time I had to sleep in the airport in Charlotte. If you are a huge traveler, I feel like at least one time you're gonna have to sleep at the
Girl,
airport.
I have done
Um,
it several. Mm-hmm.
yeah, you
Several.
also had to sleep outside the airport, but
Did.
that's a story for another day.
Did. Whew.
um, but
Stressful.
had I known, when I woke up that morning, the lady was like, "Did you sleep here all night?" And I said, "Yeah." And she was like, there was rentable suites," and I was like, Now what now?" Because had I known, I wouldn't have froze to death in that airport.
Yeah.
You know what
If
I
you
mean?
get stuck in if you get stuck in Denver on the fourth floor of I can't remember what terminal, there are chairs that fold out with chargers next to them. The floor is quiet. There's nothing really up there, and you can just go up there and just chill. It's whatever terminal United flies through. And I only found that by like looking on the app, and I read a blog about it because one of the things, if you are stuck in the airport, Google, what do I do if I'm stuck in this airport? And you'll get a whole bunch of tips. Like Jennifer said, the app. But that'll also tell you what airports to not get stuck in.
I'm gonna tell you what airport I would never want to. I would never want to be stuck in. The airports in the islands. They are so small, like so small. There's literally nothing there. Like they may have like three places for you to get food. There are no lounges.
Mm.
It's just like we here for flights and that's it.
That's
Like it ain't no
it. Yeah.
enjoyment. You know, there might be a little bit of shopping, but not really much. And so I would never want to be stuck in one of those airports.
I'm going to be honest too. The airports going to Africa outside of the big cities. I've been in some airports going through Tanzania, especially. No air conditioning. Parts of them are outside. They close at a certain time. Um, it gets real rough. No Wi-Fi. The airport in Cairo is not the best. So knowing about the airports you're going through too is important because, for instance, when I went to the Netherlands or whatever, the airport I was going through, they had construction or something going on and you needed to be there 4 hours earlier. The lines for security was extending outside of the airport and around the terminal. You were standing outside. They had set up like tents and stuff out there. I don't ever get to the airport on time. I don't, I'm getting myself together. I made that flight because they delayed us by 30 minutes. That was by the
That
grace
ain't
of God.
nothing but God. But let
Because
me
I
tell
know he would
you,
be tired of me.
what airport got me like that, and I was so thankful that I listened when they told us. Oh yes, tonight's episode is sponsored by Toast Beverages, and you can find them at your local grocery store, and you can go on their website and look up their with their locator, and you can find if they have what stores in your area have it.
Okay.
But Aruba's airport is terrible. I think it took me 4 hours to get through security, and they said like arrive 4 hours early, and I'm so glad I did because
Yeah.
I got through security right when my flight was boarding, right when my flight was boarding,
Mm-hmm.
and because at that time you had to check in at the counter because. I think the Friday after I left, America was no longer requiring COVID tests for entry, right? So we had to wait for the I had to wait in line for that. I had to go through I think two or three different types of security. And then the other thing with Aruba is to leave Aruba, you can go through US Customs in Aruba. They have US Customs there. And I didn't know that. And I also didn't have global entry. So it took forever. It took forever. And I just could not
Yeah.
believe it. And so I tell everybody, you might not have that COVID step no more, but get to that airport 3 hours early.
Y'all really should. Y'all got to get yourselves together. And then one last one before we go to airport. I hate Miami. Whew, Miami will make you reconsider travel.
Miami and Atlanta. I
Yeah, they
hate
will
Atlanta Airport.
definitely.
I
And
hate
my,
Atlanta
if
Airport.
you have a layover in Miami going in or out of the country, give yourself time because they don't care. They do not care. They're not going to make it easy for you, convenient for you, none of those things. You will definitely miss your flight.
I I think between Miami and Atlanta, they are the reason why I have trusted traveler programs because they don't care.
Yeah.
And yeah, they don't care. I'm so thankful that I have global entry. Before I had global entry, I had mobile passport. Because what you're not gonna do is have me standing in these lines for years. Because it really do be feeling like years. And Miami, that
It's
airport, child, that's a story for another day. We're gonna have to
right.
do an episode on terrible airports.
We definitely are. Well, guys, thank you for joining us tonight for our Galentine's version of Sips and Trips, sponsored by Toast. Our next
Yes,
episode is what day, Jennifer?
that's 2 weeks from today. I don't know the number. I don't know. Is it the 21st? Maybe. I think it will be the 21st. Yeah.
Okay, I think so too.
Yep. Because yep, the 21st. So tune in on the 21st. And we will catch you guys. We will catch you guys later. Thank you for joining us. And thank you to Toast for sponsoring this
Sponsoring us.
episode. Like I said
Thank you.
before, head to their website so that you can see which stores in your area actually carry it. And you guys have a good night.